Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Reggie Haynes, and you are tuned in to another edition of Reggie Haynes in Africa. Today, I'm going to talk about the differences when it comes in regards to the economic ways of living, when it comes in regards to the comparisons of America to Zimbabwe. Now, mind you, when I was in America, I lived down south. I lived in Texas, and I know that living in Houston, Texas was one of the most affordable places to stay within America. I would say when it comes in regards to living in America, I used to work security, and I worked in a place called Woodlands, or they call it the Woodlands, Texas. And this is one of the richest places. And I actually lived in the area, worked there. And when I lived in a nice apartment, nice neighborhood, it was 800 USD per month. If you're looking for like a nice house, 1 bedroom, I have never experienced that, but I have heard that rent can be between 1,000 to 2,000 depending on where you're staying and depending on the areas. Nice, safe environments, apartments, you're looking at 700 to possibly 1,000. But for me, I met somewhere in the middle, around 800 to 850 per month. The other thing is too, is to where it was just me. So I'm a single person at this time. But if you are in Zimbabwe, it is totally different. In Zimbabwe, yes, they still use the USD currency, which has made it a reasonable transition from America to Zimbabwe whenever I moved here. But the other thing is too, the cost of living, you just don't have to think of the place where you're going to be renting out, but you also have to think of the food per month. You also have to think about travel per month. And you also have to think about if you're going to go out and do other things, you know, to have fun, or, you know, just different things to where you can sustain a healthy lifestyle. So for me, the breakdown goes like this. If you are coming from America to Zimbabwe and you are trying to live here, I feel like if you want to live in the areas like Avondale, Highlands, nice places, and you're renting out a particular place, I always go with the method of that I learned from an old comedian, rest in peace to John Witherspoon. Always pay 6 months in advance of where you're going to stay. So that way, if anything happens, you run out of money, at least you'll have a place to go to call home. So remember, I've talked about in previous videos where the link is on screen of how you guys can actually get a permit or a visa while visiting in Zimbabwe. Now I'm going to move over to, if you're going to try to stay here for that 6 month period of time, you need to make sure that when you're looking for a place to rent, that if you are a person that has about 4,000 to 5,000 in the bank, you are good to go. Why? Nice places that are for 1 to 3 bedrooms in Avondale or in certain places within the Motherland, and I'm talking about currently in 2025, you are looking at paying about 4 to 500 per month. Now, if you do the math, 5 times 6, that's 3,000. What's left over would be, if you brought 5,000 over here, would be 2,000. Cost of living expenses can range between 200 to 300. So if you multiply that times 6, you're looking at about 15 to 1,800, which will still leave you with 200 left over. But I'm not saying that it's guaranteed that you're going to make that amount or that you're going to need that amount. I'm just saying you always want to have money for a rainy day. And this is for those people who aren't receiving any income while being in Zimbabwe. Because I know if you're visiting or if you're trying to reside over here and do business, this is the funds that you use just to maintain a secure location for you to call home while you're here doing work, doing business, doing whatever, and you're doing it legally. So yeah, you can rent out places just to visit and do business over here, and you got to make sure that the money that you're receiving is not coming from within, you know, within here, because you have to have a work permit in order to receive money legally. It has to come from elsewhere. If you're doing a private business, they have something called EcoCash, where people can send you money through EcoCash, which is basically like a mobile wallet or a mobile money transfer. Some people use PayPal, then they can revert that money to a bank account, and then they can transition that money from their bank account to EcoCash. So EcoCash is a very reliable source. But if you don't want to go the USD route, they also have Zim dollars. I believe that's what they call Zim dollars. So these are just different things that you can look into if you want to do the comparison between where I stayed in Texas and a few other places in America compared to Zimbabwe. Now, furthermore, when it comes in regards to down south, you got to look at places like Louisiana, Atlanta, Florida, places I've been. The more that you go to the east side of the South, going towards Florida and Georgia and all these places, the more richer it's going to be, the more expensive it's going to be. So just realize that down south in Houston, Texas, I know that expenses have gotten higher because of inflation, but when I was back there, I think about 3 or 4 years ago, it was very reasonable. When you go up north, expect the expenses to be way more higher than it is down south. And in Zimbabwe, I would say Zimbabwe is a very affordable place to live, but you have to budget your money accordingly. But like I said, my best tip is to always make sure that you have money saved up for a rainy day. I'm talking about $2,000 to $3,000. The other thing is to make sure that you always make sure that you have finances coming in just in case for a rainy day as well, to where you can stack up on top of the money you already have saved. But the first thing you need to do, the mandatory thing you must do, is make sure that you pay 6 months in advance to a respectable person who actually is not going to scam you. Talk to the locals, talk to people who have actually visited, and make sure that these people have a local site or a public platform to where people can know how to contact them just in case you get scammed. Again, this is Reggie Haynes. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video when it comes in regards to talking about the economics, when it comes in regards to finances and living stabilities compared to America in certain places I've lived over there, to Zimbabwe, and to check out previous videos where I've talked about the visa restrictions that are in place in Zimbabwe. Click the link on screen.